Hey everyone, how's it going? In this video, we're going to be talking about networking with respect to a Linux system. In this case, it's going to be RHEL 9. And yeah, so just to give you a tidbit about networking and like in a day job situation, in my regular day job, I pretty much work as a sysadmin for pretty much a sysadmin for customers with supporting our like software product. And so far, have not worked with a customer that has been using IPv6 instead of IPv4. And a lot of times you just see it disabled. And I'm talking about working mostly with Windows systems. And I've also seen we pretty much just use IPv4 even in the Linux embedded devices that I've seen out there in the field. So not yet, but hopefully in the future I might see an IPv6 customer or a site or a situation where they use it, but so far I have not. So with that being said, we're going to focus on the IPv4 side, and then once you do the IPv4 side, then IPv6 is going to be the same thing. Yeah, so if you're not too familiar with the networking in general, I recommend looking at some videos and links that I put in there. And bottom line is that it's going to be how the computer communicates with another computer. And in that case, it's going to be using the IP address. It can also use the host name, but we're going to talk about that in another section. And so let's get right into it here. We can see the IP address of this network card here, right? And then here we can see the INET here, or internet address here. It's going to be 4 octets with a subnet mask of 24. And 24, it looks like this, right? But again, that's going to be into your networking fundamentals, and that's why I recommended the beginning of this kind of study for this exam. You do need a little bit, like at least network plus level knowledge, because this is where it comes into play, like some of your previous experience. Now, INET, you see how this one says INET, and then this one says INET 6. This is what an IPv6 address looks like here. You can see the subnet mask is a little bit longer here. So that's one thing I want to show. So we covered here that you can see it using IPA. And as always, you always want to look at the man page of a command. And IPA does help you do a lot of things, but it doesn't permanently apply it. So now in the exam, we have to remember that the things that we do on the machine, it has to survive a reboot. Okay, so that's why we're going to focus here on NMTUI, and then we're also going to focus on NMCLI. But mainly we're going to use NMTUI because it's just the easiest and the fastest and the simplest, and it is available on a non-GUI having server. Okay, or installation. So we already covered the IPA, right? So let us now do the IP neighbor. So that's what we want to cover here. Neighbor show, like this. And as you can see here, the only other neighbor that I have is going to actually be the switch here that I have. And what you're going to see also here is the NIC card that it's can get to. So out of that NIC card or network interface card, it can get to this one, and then that's the MAC address. Okay, now another one that we want to do is IP route. Okay, and again, the default, which is my gateway, is going to be there out of here, and we got it through DHCP, and that's our IP address. Or here's our IP address. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. That's not our IP address. That is the network. Okay. That's our network ID, or some people say network ID. I just say our network, because that's our, like, it'll be our network scheme. So for example, to the range here, because of the subnet mask, it's going to be 1 to 254. So we can use any address from in that range. Okay, so that's one thing that we're going to practice here. Now, the next thing that we want to do is NMCLI, right? We want to man that. And then you can see here, command line tool for controlling network manager. And what it is that the network manager service is the thing that manages all of the networking, to put it simply. So something that we can do, and we'll also talk about this later, is look at, to make, like, if it's not working, you sure you changed your settings and stuff like that, we can do network system CTL, status, make sure it's capital, network manager. And here we can see that it's actively running. Now, of course, system CTL gives you a lot of options, and one thing you just double tap and you can see all the options you have for you, like restart, show, like we just used, which one we used, status, start, stop. Okay. What I want to focus on with NMCLI is just using it as a information gather. So if we want to just look at the connections that we have, we can say device status, like this. So we can see that that's working. And of course, part of our networking is our like loopback address. And this is just the internal, what they call like local address of the machine. You can see here that we have a device here, for example, we have EMP1S0, and then we can directly focus on that device. Okay, so we can use something like con, right, connection, and then we can do show, and then we can do ENP like that, and then it'll give us a lot of details about it. So here we go, Ethernet, right? We can see what else. We'll just do space. We can, what we really want here is IPv4 information. So we can see our IP address, we can see where our gateway is, we can see here our scheme, right? We can also see here our DNS. So this was also our DNS server, is also our gateway here. And then our broadcast address. So, you know, a lot of different things there. Our default gateway was also our DHCP server. That's where we got our IP address from. And then, yeah, we can even delete that way, but we're not going to do that right now. So you can delete a device if you needed to, or delete a connection, as they say. Like I said, we're going to be focusing on NMTUI. And the reason is because NMTUI is just, it's faster, quicker. NMCLI is great, but it can get a little confusing. But that's, you know, you can use it, you just got to get good at it. And getting good at it means being quick. And on the exam, time is of the essence. So get right into it. So the first thing we want to do is just man this. So NMTUI, yeah, text user interface for controlling network manager. See how it says the same thing as the man page for NMCLI. And in this case, it is available on a non-GUI installation as well. So you don't have to worry about if, oh, what if a GUI is not installed or something like that, and it does work. And I encourage you to try it on server 2 that we made earlier in the labs. So then we're gonna go here. So what we're gonna do for this exercise is we're just gonna change the IP address, right, of iNet here, right? We are going to change it to, let's say, for example, 200. And I changed it earlier to do a test, and now we're going to change it to something else, and we're just going to say 200, right? Because that's still in our range because of our subnet mask. And if subnet mask and stuff still isn't making sense, yeah, like I said, I recommend looking at those other videos and some other resources, okay? And then so let's go right into it. So we're going to change it to 150 and go from there, okay? Now, something to note, right, that we're going to cover a little bit later, and I want you to know or look at what we were missing. So we're going to do NMTUI, right? We're going to edit the connection, right? We're going to go edit, We're gonna keep that all the same. We're just gonna go IPv4 here. We're gonna change this to manual. We're gonna add the address here. So we're gonna say 192.168.122.150. Okay. And then, right, we're gonna go here, 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 here. And then we're gonna go, okay, like this. Okay. We're gonna go back. We're gonna say, okay, like that. Okay. And we're gonna go IPA. As you can see, right, it hasn't changed. Okay. So what we have to do is we can use NMCLI real quick. We're gonna say connection. We're gonna say down. We're gonna put the device, right? And then we're gonna go back here. And then we're gonna say up, like this. Okay. And then we're gonna clear that. And then we're gonna go IPA. Okay. So right, it changed. Now let's try to ping out to the internet. And if we don't know, this is Google's DNS, and it says network unreachable, right? So why is that? So one thing that we did not add, right? If we go back here, edit, we did not add our way out, which is our gateway. So we got to do 192.168.122, and it's usually 1/24. Oh. And that's something we also didn't add last time, was our default, our subnet mask. Okay. Okay. And then so that's good. We're gonna go there. We're gonna go back. We're gonna go okay. And then now we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna go down. We're gonna go up. Okay, now let's see if we can ping out. There we go. Now we can ping out. Okay, so now that's something I did want to check. Let's see about the subnet mask. Let's see something I don't remember. Right, so like for example, okay, cool. So that is something we can adjust. So we can make that /20, something like that. But it did it automatically for us, which is good. So, yeah, that's how my mind works, right? Like if you're questioning something or don't remember something, or like, oh, that get added automatically, you should always test and be comfortable looking and just going back and trying things over again. Okay. So like, for example, in this case, right, it wasn't working. It's like, oh, we have to be missing something, right, in our configuration. So that was NMTUI. Again, there are a number of things you can do with NMTUI, just like with NMCLI. And I encourage you to try out some things, look up some the ways you can change the IP addresses or look at devices. Because, for example, like if we do NMCLI, what was it? Connection, show, and then we did ENP like this. This shows us a lot of information, right? But then you got to think about, well, what information do I need for right now? So this is a little overkill, and maybe you just need to know the IP address of it. So you just do IPA. So there are many tools, and getting familiar with them and what you need to get is like the information you need is what the practice is gonna have to happen. Okay, thank you so much. Bye bye.